Hello world, it's Gojo4 with you once again. How are you guys doing on this wonderful spring weekend? Just a couple things for you guys. Finally a little bit of news on the Godzilla front. If you know already, IDW Comic Books has been making Godzilla comics for a couple years now. Really, like, I remember I made a vlog about that many years ago about when it was first coming out, but it's been, I'd say, since like 2011 or 2012. Yeah, and they've made so many series. I mean, they finished an entire Godzilla series. Then they had another one just called Godzilla. Now we have Rulers of Earth, which is like on 20 something issues. Then all the spin-off series, Legends, Half Century War, Gangsters and Goliaths. Wow. Cataclysm. That's what I've been meaning to read. Well, now they have announced a new spin-off comic book series, Godzilla in Hell. And I'm not joking when I say that. It's called Godzilla in Hell. And it's going to be a 5-part miniseries, kind of like Half Century War and Cataclysm, where, as far as we know, Godzilla goes to hell. And he fights monsters down there. Or whatever, you know? Who cares? Sounds like... Sure, why not? Go for it. You know, I wonder if maybe they took some inspiration from the fake project that was supposed, you know, the fake canceled Godzilla vs. the Devil from the 70s. Wonder if it has any relation to that at all. But this is just going to be Godzilla going through hell, I guess, beating up other monsters and the devil himself. Which, whatever, is what I really like about IDW's spin-off comics. Because, you know, their main comic series are a bit more grounded. They have all these characters and kind of explores a world filled with monsters and how the humans deal with them. But the spin-off comics kind of show different sides to it. They either focus on specific monsters, or they tell the story of a group of people over an entire, you know, century, half a century, or they show the world, you know, being destroyed by monsters in the future, post-apocalyptic. And now, what else to do but hell, I guess. So it sounds really interesting, and it could be really fun. And it's what I like about comic books, because you really only can do this in comic books unless you did like maybe a short animated thing, because no one would take this seriously. But in a comic book, you can kind of get away with a lot of crazy stuff, and they did stuff like this all the time. I mean, the old Marvel comics had Godzilla get shrunk to like the size of a rat and run around in the sewers or something. So I'm happy that they're making these cool, weird spin-offs. I still need to read Cataclysm, but once I do that, I'll probably check out Godzilla in Hell. I think there's only one spin-off from them I didn't really like, and that was Gangsters and Goliaths. I didn't really dig it too much, and I never read Legends, so I know that's one that like everybody was crazy about. But I did read Half Century War, and I really liked it. So gotta check out Cataclysm, and now I guess Godzilla in Hell. So go check it out. I'll leave a link below for some information on it. Yeah, and then we'll see where they take us after that. Maybe space. That's where I feel like it probably would go next. And it's not like Godzilla hasn't been in space before, so. Also, on the G front, the new NECA Godzilla 54 figure, prototype pictures were released. Now, we've already seen pictures of the figure back, I think it was New York Comic-Con or Toy Fair or something. NECA already put out some pictures of it on display with like sometime early 2015, but now it's looking a bit more like summer. I think maybe, hopefully, June. Usually a big, you know, a release for toys. So Godzilla 54 looks pretty good. I haven't gotten into the NECA figures. The only one I have is my 2014 24-inch one. So I want to check it out. You know, I only have one figure of Godzilla 54. And I mean, he's one of the most iconic suits. He's the first one, right? You can't get more iconic than that. That's like the original William Shatner, Captain, you know, James Kirk. Darth Vader has always just been Darth Vader. I'm trying to think what else. You know, the first Doctor Who, the first James Bond. I mean, there's just something iconic about the very first one. So, yeah, and it's a good looking suit too. I like the way he looks in the film. It's kind of well balanced. I mean, obviously the style and look has been repeated later on. So yeah, I'll definitely be picking up the figure and I'll let you know if it's awesome or not. So I'd look forward to that. Also, I just wanted to include on the tail end of this somewhat of two mini reviews. I recently watched Them, the 1954 monster movie classic. If you haven't ever seen it before, it's well, it's about giant ants that show up in the New Mexico desert, terrorize people, and then they spread out throughout the country, laying nests, and the humans have to stop them. Very much in the 50s style, but really well produced and even pretty good storyline. Unlike some of the other cheesier 50s B movies, I feel like this one they actually tried to make it good. The acting is pretty good. The effects are pretty well done. The ants are like giant puppets, so which interact with the actors and everything. So I mean, for the time, the special effects are really good, and the pacing is pretty good. I do feel like by the second half of the film, it did slow a bit down, but the story is really intriguing, and I do like, I'm always down for anything caused by nuclear fallout in the desert. I did feel like the film also had a big influence on Rodan, because everything at the beginning of Rodan with the Meganulon in the mines, I really was thinking of them. And I'm pretty sure they saw them and they're like, ooh, let's do that. Because they, we know that they watched quite a few American B movies and took some ideas. So, it was good though. And it's not very long, so I would say go check it out if you've never seen it before. It's pretty interesting, good 50s B movie, but like not just super cheesy. It's actually a fairly good 50s film. I would put it definitely, I'm biased, so I would say Godzilla 1954 is better, but I'd put it somewhere on par with it, definitely. The other film I recently watched, another 50s B movie, is The Mysterians, the Toho sci-fi classic. And I know it's kind of shocking it took me this long to see The Mysterians, and it's something I'd been wanting to watch for a while. I'd heard so much about it. I mean, if you're a fan of this genre, how have you not? And of course, Mogera. I was always kind of a fan of Mogera and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, so I kind of wanted to see where he came from a bit. Even though he's only in the film like the first good chunk of the movie. He's in it a bit, but he just shows up at the beginning and then he kind of disappears. And it was like a 50s alien sci-fi invasion movie, and I kind of knew it wasn't going to be a giant monster movie. And the effects were really good, actually. I didn't know that Toho was already doing such crazy beam effects for the time. A lot of the beam effects you see in the 60s, they were already doing in this film. It is really well made, and of course, they bring out, the military bombardment scenes that we all know and love, the missiles and the tanks, and then the humans build some kind of super ray device to fight the aliens, and then they have funny looking rockets that they look like rockets but they're ships. It's kind of silly. So the effects were cool. The plot itself was pretty straightforward, and it very much, I think the film was alright, but you can definitely see the influence it had later on, and I think that's the fun part. The Mysterians are a lot like the other aliens that we'd see show up in the Godzilla films. The Exilians, the Keloks, the Nebula Space Hunter, the fifth planet from the fourth whatever planet, black hole aliens. Because the Mysterians have an underground base in Japan, and they only wish to have that land, but they're lying to the humans, and I'm like, okay. And they're also susceptible to the Earth's atmosphere, so yeah. I don't know, that just kind of became like the formula for the aliens and the rest of the series. But for its time, it's a well-made movie. I still don't think it almost seemed like there was much to it beyond that. I think it was missing some of the depth that Rodan and Godzilla 1954 had, and that were much more powerful in those films. Yeah, it was missing a lot of depth. I think it was still enjoyable. A good sci-fi classic, I think. A good, if you're a big fan of the tokusatsu, especially the Toho films, I think Mysterians is one you need to check out. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on those two films. I'll keep you guys posted on any more exciting news. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye-bye.